Good afternoon, lovely people. Welcome to May. Yay, the glorious month of May. I'm so excited. After July and August, I think May is my most favourite month in the year. Oh, I quite like September and October as well because of the harvests. Put it this way, I love May. May is the month when it all happens, or at least it feels like it's all happening. By the end of May, all the structures will be up, all the beds will be planted and seeded, it will all be in there, except for the very top bed, which will be the tomatoes, squash and peppers. They're always the last to go in, usually about the beginning of June. But if it's really warm, they might be in by the end of May. Yay! So, it's going to be a really busy month. We're nice and warm at the moment. The days are getting longer. Oh, I just love it, love it, love it. The only issue that we may have in May is lack of rain. We've had an incredibly dry April and last couple of weeks of March. I think we had rain, the only decent rain we had was that first week of March. So yeah, that's the only issue I foresee in the month of May, is that we carry on being dry. But we'll just do as best we can and deal with it. So, without further ado, come on, let's go and have a quick whiz around the garden and see where we're at the beginning of the month of May. Well, just before I take you down the garden, I thought I'd give you a quick update with how things are going outside the shed. So over here, these are all my mother geranium plants, and in front, looking a little bit sad, are all my cuttings. If you remember, they were all beautiful, lush green. I potted them up. It was still quite chilly, so I popped them in the greenhouse, and then overnight it suddenly went really hot, and they did not like it at all. So obviously they're out of the cold frame. They have been for a few days, and they're showing a few sort of signs of recovery in life. Yay! And then just behind them there's just a few of the last sweet peas that need to go out, and they really, really need to go out, because if you contrast those with the ones in my little trough that I planted a few weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago I think, 2 weeks ago, either way, it's between 2 and 3 weeks ago, they're getting away really nicely now, and I need to start tying them in. Look how this one's gone all the way up to here. Remember what I was saying about their little teeny tiny tendrils there? Can you see it's just starting to cling on to the bit of willow there? Brilliant. And there are a few of the little seeds coming up. So I've got no idea what they are until they come up. At the back there, they're either going to be night-scented stock or the nicotiana. But hooray for signs of life there. The lemon verbena is going mad and thuggish. I don't know if you remember, but I did have a few, you see, just in the little sweet pea seeds from my friend Jackie, which I popped in here, and they're all trying to come up, but I'm just wondering now whether I got them in too late, and actually this verbena is not going to let them do much. Okay, lesson learned for next year. Oh, that one needs a bit of help as well. Yeah, they all need a bit of string and tying to them. But they're going in the right direction. So I'm really looking forward how this area is going to be come July, when I'm sitting out here in the evening after a hard day in the garden watering. So yes, let's see how that turns out in July. Okay, to the garden. My tulips are well and truly over. But what a lovely little splash of colour I've got here now with the poached egg plants, a few forget-me-nots. I've never known what that orange one is. Intertwined at the moment with some flowering kale. Yeah, it was in a mixed pack of seeds that are supposed to be nice for the bees. It came up. Yeah, I've not really seen many bees on it, but it's a nice splash of colour at this time of year. And just around the back, whoa, look how big! This is my tree lily. Look how big it is already. It's nearly to the top of the sign. So that's got to be 1.5, nearly 2 foot tall already. Can't wait. So I've got 5 big stems have come up on that this year. And then that looks like a little tiny baby stem trying to come up too. And look how thick they are. If I put my finger there, look how thick it is. Fantastic. It's one of the things I really look forward to in the garden each year. I know it's not a vegetable, but it's just so unashamedly beautiful when it flowers. I can't wait. Okay, so bed number 1. It's very little change at the moment, because this is going to be the very last bed to be prepared, because I won't be planting until at least the end of May, probably beginning of July. But I'm starting to turn my attention to getting the beds ready. So at the moment, I've started cutting down my brassicas. Now this ground obviously wasn't covered with compost, leaves and cardboard over the winter because it had stuff growing in it. And because it was brassicas growing in it, and of course when we plant our brassicas we really firm them down, this ground is going to be like concrete. I mean, just to give you an idea, can you see? Look, oh, it's so dry. So what I've done to try and help myself is I've given this a really, really good soaking. I've got it covered in all my chopped down brassicas, which will eventually go in the compost heap, because they won't compost here in the space of the next 2 weeks, obviously. But I'm hoping that that soaking and covering will mean that in a couple of weeks when I try to come to work it, that it will have softened a little bit. Here's hoping. I'll repeat that with the next couple of beds too. So like I say, not much going on there until the end of May, but we're starting to have things going on in bed number 2. So the top 1, 2, 3, those beds are all prepared, and literally within the next week or so I'll start to put up the Chickpeas for the climbing squash. I'll also start to put up the bean arches either side of this path and the next path. Once the Chickpeas are up, then I can start undersowing with all my various salads and leafy things that I like, not just for the summer but even into the winter. And I'll sow about 1/3 of each bed at a time in May, June and July. So hopefully I'll have a nice succession. The bed in front of that, I might come and show you from the other side because of the light. At the very front here, of course, are the broad beans. Looking gorgeous. They have gotten really big. Let me come down here so you can hopefully get a sense of how big they are. Oh, pretty much 2 feet now. Fantastic. So hopefully, I mean, they're all podding up. Hopefully I will get my harvest in towards the end of May, possibly into June. The little February. Let me come down here, you can see they are growing. If they come to something, I'll leave them be, and I'll plant the coco de pampol around them, because the coco de pampol follow the broad beans. If they don't come to much, I'll just whip them out. But considering I had a bit of rubbish germination and I was a bit concerned, I think I'm going to get a really, really gorgeous harvest from this lot. Brilliant. So, as I was just mentioning, behind them, as you will have seen in a video a few days ago, this is the beginnings of peas. So I've got some of my some of the pea plants in, and along from them I've seeded as well. And then I'm going to wait a couple of weeks, and then in front I will seed again with a different variety again, so I'll have a succession. So in theory I should have harvest from these, then these, and then the ones in front. And in the very front here, that's all my lentils, fingers crossed. And for the back, I still haven't decided, but I am going to put some sort of bush bean in the back here. Because I've got so many, so very, very many. Thank you, everyone. And what's great is, if you remember last year, if you were watching last year, I didn't have a pea bed, because when I was making the cathedral beds, they ended up, the 3 of them, sort of taking up all of this space. So I have made them a bit smaller this year, but actually I don't think that's going to compromise the harvests I can get from them. So this year is a bit of a bonus bed, and I have to say I'm really delighted to be growing peas again. Yay, and not just peas of course, obviously the lentils and other beans. Fingers crossed. Okay, into bed number 3. So at the back, let me show you, we've got 4 rows of spuds. There are 2 rows of new spuds here and here, and then 2 rows of main crop spuds there. They're all doing great. They're all actually, do you know what, I think I'm going to need to start earthing up soon. Oh, we really need some rain. It'd be great if this trench got an absolute soaking, but also my mound got a soaking, because it will make it considerably easier to drag off in order to start earthing this lot up. So the new potatoes are growing great guns. The main crops, they're all up. They're about, I can't remember with the sowing times, I think I sowed them about 10 days later, but they're all up and showing. Actually, they're going to need earthing as well soon. Goodness me, it's going to be busy in the next few days. Now these 2 beds, literally probably tomorrow, I'm hoping, to get these opened up and prepared. And they're both going to be for various, well, this one's going to be, I'll do 2 varieties of bush beans. I'll do my rock and core, which is my favourite beautiful waxy one that I have for the whole pod. Another, I haven't decided yet, I need to go through all those packets again. And then on the end I will do more fennel. And this year when I'm harvesting the fennel, I will of course take the roots as well, because I don't know if you saw it, but I had an experiment cooking with the roots and they made a really beautiful soup. So that'll be beans and fennel, and then into here will go the chickpeas. Actually, I'm wondering if I can get chickpeas and a bit more fennel in, because I do love my fennel. And now that I know I can cook with and enjoy eating the roots too, it makes it an even more valuable crop. I'll have a think about that. And then finally on the front of this bed, I've got my parsnip bed. So I've got 3 rows of parsnips, and then they are in the middle of each row I've planted the calendula. Calendula are happily coming up. Now there are, I can't see now, or at least there were, oh, I've spotted some, let me show you. There are the first of the parsnips coming up. Woohoo, woohoo, woohoo. There are quite big gaps, so I'm thinking I'll leave them another week or so. There's a load more, how lovely. Yeah, I'll leave them a week or so, and if nothing else is showing, I will reseed, because I've got plenty of seed. I've just put this bit of metal grill over the top for now to try and discourage foxes and cats and all the other things in my garden that like to dig and do their lavatory here. Yay, more parsnips. Brilliant. I'm chuffed. Gosh, everything needs a good watering, doesn't it? So hopefully this year the parsnips will be considerably better than last year. Well, anything's got to be better than last year, hasn't it, when I had basically nothing. Okay, final of the veggie beds. This is the carrots, which, as I was showing you the other day, I left the planks on a bit too long. Some of them are okay, some of them weren't. So I'm going to reseed one of the rows of carrots. And also in there, I can't be bothered taking the nets off at the minute. Sorry everyone. I don't think you've got a hope and heck's chance of seeing. No, it's not worth even trying to show you. But the leeks, the direct sown leeks are all coming up. The spring onions are all coming up. I'm delighted about the leeks because I've never tried to sow them direct before. So obviously sowing them direct, there's been no sort of thinning, and they were sown a little bit too thickly. So what I'll do for thinning is I'll just use a pair of scissors to snip the tops off rather than disturb any rootage in there. And the red onions are perfectly happy. So again, you saw the other day I was mulching with the grass and I ran out. one of the beds that I opened up the other day, there was a load of leaves still on the top that hadn't sort of rotted down. There were still the leaves which were really big and whole. So I've given them a good strimming, gave the bed a good soak, and hopefully that will help. The white onions, that's the white onions next to them. Should let me come around the other side, give you a better shot. Yeah, I don't have any material for mulching at the moment, so I think tomorrow, if I can do it, when I get these two beds open, any leaves that haven't composted down and been taken down by the worms, I'll get them off, get them in the bucket, get them trimmed, and then I can get them onto the white onions. I don't want to take the covers off yet, just because it does help a little bit in terms of retaining moisture, but they're looking great too. Lovely. Garlic are doing their garlicky thing. That's another crop which will be out, gosh, in a matter of weeks, maybe even only 4 weeks. But look, can you tell what was in here last year? Look at that spud growing through the baked concrete of the path. And there's another one in there. I'm just going to leave them, and then when I take the garlic out, I'll dig them up and see if anything happened. Might get a little bonus early potato harvest. Yeah, they're looking okay. I expect them to start throwing up their scapes anytime over the next couple of weeks or so, and when they do, I shall hopefully have time to be using them because they are beautiful. And the last thing in this bed, the purple sprouting broccoli, which it's all pretty much starting to flower. I have had so many meals from this bed. Absolutely gorgeous. It comes all the way around the back. I've had so much to eat from it. I've given loads away to friends to eat from it. It's been absolutely wonderful. So I do not mind it now going to flower and me sharing it with the bees. Let me just show you this clump on the front, which it was sort of almost overnight that it happened. Oh, blah. Look at this bunch. Oh, actually, let me come the other way. Sorry, I'm being a bit giddy today, aren't I? This clump of it underneath the rose there. It's like a beautiful beacon lighting the way. And the bees just love it. You may not be able to see them, but you can hear them. Oh, lovely. Okay, let's leave them in peace to do their thing. Right, back around this way. The cold frame. How's things going in the cold frame? Well, similar to what I showed you the other day, in terms of the brassicas, I am trying to hold my nerve. A few more cells are showing, but I think realistically, obviously I need to water this in a minute, I think realistically I might be sowing again. Oh, no mountain tea either. Fingers crossed. Likewise, not a huge amount of flowers showing or herbs. Ay caramba. The daft thing about with the brassicas is that little clump over there, I'm going to have to get them pricked out soon because they're getting humongous. Well, who knows? There seems to be no rhyme or reason to why some of them have worked and worked well and then others are doing nothing. But like I say, I'm going to give it another week, get into the sort of the 7th or 8th of May or so, and if there's still no show, I am going to re-sow. I'm not going to risk leaving it any longer. I want my brassicas. I need my brassicas. I love my brassicas. Oh, and the herb bed just brings me so much pleasure. This is the Lovage. It's really starting to go for it now. It's hard to tell on camera, isn't it? That's about 10 inches tall. And I'm so glad because at home with my seeds, my seedlings, my celery is looking absolutely rubbish again for the 2nd year running. So if my celery seedlings fail, I'm going to be relying on the Lovage to use in cooking instead. Oh, sorry, just to say at the end of the cold frame there, that's all the coco de pampol and the flint corn I sowed. Oh, it was a matter of days ago, so I would not expect to see any signs of life there yet. But I keep hoping. Yeah, so the herb bed is really starting to sort of green up and fill out. It seems to get bushier every day, or at least every time I visit I think, oh, you're a bit bushier, you're a bit bushier. Oh, I love it. I'm so chuffed with it. What a great investment of my time last year to get this underway. Yay, happy days. And then finally, how's the Taunton Dean doing? Well, I think you'll agree. It's looking really rather splendid, isn't it? Again, just to sort of give you an idea, it's about 2 feet high, but it's getting to be a chunky monkey. Oh, look, it's covered in bits of leaf trimmings. So, yeah, I'm starting to see little side shoots in there. Brilliant. I think I might nick a leaf soon. I'm so tempted to nick a leaf and eat it, but on the other hand, I don't want to take any of its strength away while it's still getting established, because it's only been in the ground for 6 months. So yeah, I might leave it a little while longer. Whee! Oh, and that's it. That's it, folks. That's the garden at the beginning of May, on a really quite a beautiful day. It's warm, it's bright. Oh, it's just gorgeous. But there's not a drop of rain in sight, which is more than a little bit disconcerting. Oh, and this is now such a favourite place to sit and just enjoy all the different greens and the different shapes of leaves, especially against the texture of the bricks. I absolutely love this little site. All I need for now is for the lavender to start flowering and for the bees to go mad in it again. It's funny, isn't it? I think days like today, because it's so warm and bright, it actually feels like July, and it feels like the garden should be a mass of green already. But no, there's still quite a lot of brown. We have to remember we're still quite early in the year, but there is stuff in the ground and there is stuff growing. Hurrah! So I wonder how it's going to look in a month's time. I can't wait to have you all back. I shall, of course, see you before a month's time. I'll probably see you in a couple of days, in fact, when I get to work on those 2 beds. But for now, I'm going to say cheerio to you all. I hope you're all at a stage where you would like to be, or where you need to be in your gardens at the beginning of May. Gird yourselves, folks. It's going to be busy. Bye for now, everyone.